It's a beautiful day today and we're reading some more Am I the A-hole? Yet again, we're back reading some more Am I the A-hole and it's going to be an absolute adventure. I've become quite addicted to this subreddit and yeah, to say I'm excited is an understatement. And let's get into it. Enjoy, guys. Am I the a-hole for saying you should have thought of that before you procreated? My ex and I have a 13-year-old daughter, Nicole. Nicole has several medical conditions that require a lot of attention. She will need some sort of in-home assistance for the rest of her life. While we have an aide to help a couple of days a week, it is still a challenge. The outcome of Nicole's condition became clear when she was 2. My ex and I agreed that we wouldn't have any more kids because it wouldn't be fair to anyone. There'd be no way we could focus attention on 2 kids. Someone would definitely lose out in this situation. We divorced when Nicole was 5. We originally had a 50-50 custody. 3 years later, my ex remarried. His new wife, Callie, is nice. My ex did say that she didn't understand the severity of Nicole's condition. I figured there was a learning curve. Eventually, Callie basically said she wanted to be hands-off, which I respected, though I wondered how it'd work considering Nicole lives with them half the time. Last year, my ex and Callie had a baby. I was a little surprised given that my ex was always firm on not having more kids, but I figured it wasn't any of my business. He did begin to complain that it was a lot of work juggling Nicole and the baby. I sympathized, but I really didn't know what else to say. Recently, the venting got worse. He said Callie yelled at him for taking Nicole to her physical therapy appointment instead of helping her with the baby. He brought up potentially having Nicole stay with me more. I wasn't entirely shocked, but it did piss me off. I said Nicole was his daughter. He can't just abandon that responsibility. He asked what he was supposed to do about the baby. I said maybe you should have thought of that before you procreated. I mean, really? We discussed this 10 years ago as to why it'd be hard to juggle 2 kids. Why did you think having another would be a good idea? He got quiet and said Callie wanted a baby. I said that isn't enough of a reason and maybe he should have thought harder before bringing more life into this world. The conversation ended with me saying that I'd call my lawyer and we could arrange for him to have less custody, as I'd rather my daughter be properly cared for than be viewed as a burden. Callie called me that night very upset that I'd made my ex cry and that I said her baby shouldn't exist. I said that's not what I said completely, more that they didn't think about it. She called me a jerk. Am I the a-hole? No, you're not the a-hole, OP. It feels like Callie's upset that you're not taking the baby. Yeah, like the top comment says, I assume Callie had this dream of Nicole magically disappearing over to your place so she and the ex can have just their happy new trio. You're absolutely correct to hold him accountable, especially if Nicole has the mental capacity to be aware that she's being shut out, not the a-hole. Yeah, you were only being honest, OP. Am I the a-hole for telling my mum not to ever invite her friends again for ruining my birthday party? I, 18 female, recently had my birthday. At first, I was just going to have lunch with my friends at a restaurant, but my parents insisted on joining us and celebrating it together with us, even though we were going to celebrate at home as a family anyway. I didn't mind and I told them I'll be happy to have everybody together at the party. It was all going well until my mum told me that she also invited her friends to my birthday party. I didn't want them there because I didn't know them well enough and it was just supposed to be people close to me, but she was stubborn about inviting them, so I suggested that we could have 2 timings, one for my mum's guests and the other for my friends. She agreed to it and it was settled that we'll invite her guests at 12 p.m, while my friends would be there at 2 p.m. This way I could spend enough time with my friends and also give time to the other guests. On the day of the party, none of my mum's guests arrived on time, and only by the time all of my friends were there did they start arriving. I was a bit annoyed, but I didn't say anything. One of the guests' daughter, around 6 years old, wouldn't leave me alone. She clung to me the entire time. Her parents insisted on having her cut my cake. Oh, what? I let her do it since she was just a kid who probably wanted to do it for fun, but then she started smashing the cake. No, is this real? Smashing the cake with her bare hands? Nah, surely not. Wiping her snot on the new dress I was wearing, which was my birthday gift, and even spat on the food? Nah. Please tell me this isn't real. And her parents, instead of disciplining their kid, stopped the music that my friends and I were playing and played kids' music so their daughter could show us her dance. I didn't get to spend a single second with my friends, and by the time they left, everything was a mess. I still kept my cool and I thanked everybody, including those parents, for coming to the party. Once everybody left, I started crying and I told mum how her guest ruined my birthday and that I hoped I never have to see them again. She took it as me blaming her for everything, so she started telling me how ungrateful of a child I am and that I didn't even deserve to have a birthday party. I don't even know what to tell her anymore. Update, thank you to everyone for your birthday wishes. My friends and I are planning on hanging out pretty soon, and I'm happy that we could have a redo party. No parents or 6-year-olds this time. Many comments asked about my dad's reaction. My dad was against the entire thing when my mum first mentioned inviting her friends, but he had to give in since mum was the one paying for most things and there was no winning an argument with her. During the party, he was, well, drunk, very drunk, and he didn't realize how big of a mess it was. He still thinks the party went really well. Okay, so assuming this one is real, of course you're not the a-hole. Like, that's not even a question. I don't understand how anybody there couldn't have felt so bad for you. Like, how the hell could any of them be like, oh yeah, that was a good party. I didn't completely ruin it. Your mum is way out of line here, OP. Inviting your own friends to somebody else's birthday party is straight away an a-hole move. Like, you don't do that. It's not about you, mum. It's your daughter's birthday party, not yours, you know. Stop thinking about yourself for 10 minutes. I feel like anybody who's going to invite their own friends to somebody else's party is a huge red flag immediately. And yeah, those friends absolutely ruined the party. There's no excuse for that, OP. And yeah, of course, you're not the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for kicking my brother and his fiance from my house after she made comments on my girlfriend's eating habits? I, 30 male, have been with my girlfriend Kelly, 29 female, for 4 years and have known her for 10. Kelly's autistic and one of her biggest problems is food. However, since getting together with me, she's opened up to a lot of new foods. Just to give an example, she wouldn't eat certain vegetables as they are, but wouldn't mind having them blended in or cut in small pieces or spirals. Now, my brother Kevin, 35 male, has recently proposed to his girlfriend of 3 years, Laura. He mentioned he has some news to announce and will I be okay to host a family dinner at my place since I love cooking. I said it wouldn't be a problem and we've decided on a Japanese theme. Now to the issue. For the main dish I've made ramen, including the noodles and broth from scratch. It had to be chicken as Kelly doesn't really like beef or pork, and since my mother doesn't eat pork. For Kelly's portion only, I've added some extra veggies, zucchinis, carrots, sweet corn and some others, since she's not fond of eggs. So naturally her ramen was served without an egg, while everybody else had a standard portion which is enough to fill up a grown man. I also made sure there were some snacks on the table like tempura, yakitori skewers, onigiri, etc. Well, within the first half an hour of her being there, Laura kept on picking on Kelly and saying that she can't say that she likes ramen because her version is not authentic. None of us are Asian or have any ties to Asia if it matters, which was upsetting to her, and it meant that Kelly started to eat significantly slower compared to the rest of the group. It happens when she's getting anxious. Then Laura's tried to grab some of Kelly's ramen to try and prove the point, so Kelly freaked out since she really doesn't like sharing food that's already on her plate, which resulted in an argument between Kelly and Laura, and Kelly crying due to her being overwhelmed. After this weekend, I asked my brother and Laura to leave. My parents were absolutely terrified over how Laura behaved towards Kelly and hinted that Laura should apologize. They ended up leaving, but later I received a call from Kevin calling me an a-hole for kicking them out and spoiling Laura's pregnancy reveal. He also wasn't happy about our mother scolding him over Laura's behavior. Well, what do you expect, dude? Laura's behavior was bloody awful. Of course people aren't going to be happy about that. Laura sounds mean. The top comment says, not the a-hole. Laura kept picking on Kelly. Laura has tried to grab some of Kelly's ramen to try to prove a point. My parents were absolutely terrified over how Laura behaved towards Kelly. Laura's a mean girl. Later, I've received a call from Kevin calling me an a-hole for kicking them out and spoiling Laura's pregnancy reveal. Not gonna lie, I think the idea of needing to gather a group and be the center of attention for a personal announcement is pretty bloody cringe in the first place. And somebody said in the comments, how would she prove a point by grabbing Kelly's ramen? And OP said, according to what she said, she wanted to try it as she was still hungry and realized that she doesn't want it as it doesn't even taste authentic. Yes, so frustrating. Oh my god. I'm definitely not a ramen expert, but a lot of people in the comments are saying that it doesn't even make it authentic or not. Like what Laura said wasn't even valid. And yeah, acting like that over ramen. Ugh. And they want you to apologize for kicking them out? Get out of here. That's hilarious. Do actions have consequences? I'm not sure. Like all of this is a result of how Laura acted. It's not a bloody accident that they got kicked out. They shouldn't have been so rude. Yeah, you're not the a-hole, OP. Am I the a-hole for writing my parents a check for everything they say I owe them and telling them to shut the hell up and get the hell out? I'm 30 years old and I'm fairly successful thus far. My parents are a huge part of my success. They kept me motivated through school. They gave me a great childhood. They helped me graduate debt-free. My mum's contacts helped me land a well-paying job straight out of uni. I am a nepo kid. Without them, who knows where I'd be? They think this gives them a carte blanche to interfere in my life. They constantly critique everything about my life. I can't think of one aspect of my life they approve of. And I'm not a bad person or anything. It's not like they have a problem with me because I'm a drug addict or working as a sugar baby. They just think they know better about everything. I had them over to my place for my dad's birthday and everything was wrong. My apartment was too small. The stove didn't have precise control of the heating elements and I scorched the sauce. I did not. It was perfect. Just everything. And they kept saying they wanted better for me and that after everything they did for me, I should be doing better. Well, I'm doing well, and because I live the way I do, I've actually done fantastic for the last 8 years. So I wrote them a big check and I asked them to hold it up. I took a picture of them with the check. They asked what it was for. I said that was everything they've wasted on me, since obviously they think I failed, so I'm giving them a refund. I told them I loved them and that I appreciated their help, but now that they were paid back, they could keep their opinions to themselves and out of my apartment. They got all huffy and left. I heard from my brother that they're pissed that I did that. I don't really care. I just want them to accept that I don't owe it to them to live my life how they want. Yeah, 100% OP. That's an awful situation. Like, yeah, they obviously helped you out growing up, but they're not being supportive, and that's not a good parent. Tearing you down about everything isn't going to make anything better. And also, it doesn't even sound like you need to do any better, OP. It sounds like you're doing awesome, and they should be proud. The top comment says, not the a-hole. If your parents were actually supportive and loving, they'd encourage you instead of criticizing. It's great that they helped you growing up. That's actually what parents are supposed to do. There's nothing wrong in setting boundaries or expecting to be treated with respect and kindness as an adult. Writing them a check was an inventive way of trying to point out their negative behavior. I'm not sure it'll work to make them understand how their actions aren't reasonable or kind, but it was a better option than losing your temper. Keep your boundaries and live your best life, and if your parents want to be a part of it, they can learn to not be a-holes around you. Yeah, because that's what they're being, OP. Absolute a-holes, and for no reason either. Like, yeah, they could easily be positive and supportive, but no, they have to be negative and criticizing. That's super toxic. Am I the a-hole for refusing to name my son after me? My family has a tradition. Oh yeah, here we go. We read about these stupid traditions all the time. My family have a tradition going back 6 generations in which the firstborn son is named William. My father and I go by our middle names to avoid confusion, whilst my grandfather is known as Bill. It's not that I don't like tradition, it's just that my middle name James is the name I've always been known as, and I always hated being made fun of when I was younger, especially at school when a new teacher would inevitably call out my actual first name when taking the register, and all the other kids would laugh at me for trying to explain that I didn't want to be called that. Now I'm an adult, I know if I wanted to, I could legally change my name by deed poll, but I guess I've just sort of got used to the inconvenience, and at this stage of my life, it's more of a conversation starter than anything else. I also understand that of all the things to be made fun of when younger, it's pretty low down on the list, and some people would say I'm just being petty. Anyway, I've recently become a father to a beautiful baby boy, and to my family's horror, we've named him Ezra, which both me and my partner love. We've still given him the middle name William, but this isn't good enough for my family, who've practically not acknowledged my son's name at all. He's 3 months old now, and whenever they interact with him, he's referred to as Junior or the child. Yeah, families like this suck. All I really want for Ezra is for him to feel like he's his own person, to not feel like there's some kind of burden on him to live up to any expectations that we might have for him, like I suppose I've always felt somewhat, and to feel comfortable knowing that any decisions he makes, me and his mum will always support him. This is what makes me stand by our decision, but I can't help but feel guilt for breaking the tradition, and that there's now a slight rift between me and my family, especially my dad. Am I the a-hole for not naming my son William? No, of course not, OP. You're trying to give your son what you didn't get, and you're trying to make sure what happened to you doesn't happen to your son, and that's awesome, and that's good parenting, OP. And if your family is going to actually make an issue out of this, then they kind of suck. They need to accept the fact that you didn't want to do the tradition, and they need to come to terms with it and move on. Like, what, are they going to be upset about this for the entire life of your son? Nah. Yeah, no, you're not the a-hole, OP. You did the right thing. Am I the a-hole for telling my soon-to-be mother-in-law that I'm marrying her son and not her, just after uninviting her to our wedding? I, 28 female, met my fiance, 28 male, during college, and we have a great relationship. Last year we got engaged, and we're planning the wedding for this fall. While he has an awesome dad and really sweet sisters, his mother is kind of a sore spot for him. She's separated from his dad, and from what I've heard and witnessed, the family don't get along much with her. If you met her, you'd understand why. She's super judgmental and rude, and barely has a nice word to say about her own kids, let alone me. Unfortunately, my fiance, being her only son and the youngest child, is her blatant favorite. She really wants him to be mama's boy, but he's not that way at all, and does a great job of handling her and keeping his distance, which honestly he prefers. Upon news of our engagement, she was super excited, very uncharacteristically. We then all realized that she was basically wanting to frame the whole day around her. Think everyone should be praising me for birthing this boy. He couldn't even get married without me. From there, the craziness really ramped up. She was coming along with him to tux fittings, trying to plan out the music, even our first dance, and getting angry at me for daring to choose a dress that she didn't like. The rest of his family and I were actually beginning to toy with the idea of uninviting her based on this behavior, and as wrong as it kind of innately feels, this is a pretty exceptional case, and honestly, her actions were starting to make us dread our own wedding. A further incident a few days later where she told my son she wanted to walk me down the aisle so she could have a moment with her son at the altar made me, my husband, and my future in-law snap. We very recently arranged for her to come over to our home, where myself and my husband sat her down in the peace and quiet and gently explained to her her that we no longer wanted her to attend the wedding. She got really angry and immediately flew off the handle at me and not her son, as though I was the one who would influence the rest of the family to uninvite her. My frustration at her boiled over, and without shouting, I stood up and told her that I wanted her to stop yelling and that she had no right to speak to me as she was. When I realized she was about to blow up again, I cut her off with, "In case you don't know, I'm the one marrying your son, not you." She didn't say anything else, just snatched up her bag and left. She hasn't spoken to me since, but she's trying to get my son to change his mind. Believe me when I say he will not. She wants an apology from me, and while my husband and the rest of the family don't think I did wrong, I kind of wonder if my comment was unnecessary and whether it would have been better to stay the calm and collected party. I'm just so done with her, and I wanted to let her know exactly how I felt. No, you're not the a-hole, OP. The top comment says, "I wouldn't care what she thinks. It seems everybody agrees that she should not be at the wedding, so 100% not the a-hole. P.S. You may want to hire security to keep her out." Yeah, definitely. And that's enough for today. I want to read more, but I actually don't have any more time today, so let's read something wholesome. My grandpa left this surprise in my grandma's camera roll on her new phone. That's so cute. Aww. Seeing couples in love is so beautiful. What a legend. The bottom corner photos are so cute too. Animals aren't as smart as humans. Also animals. Enormous lion terrifies photographer with a loud roar and then smiles at him. Oh, that's so adorable. And the look on their face, like, haha, I gotcha. Are you okay, Dennis? I've lost my stuffed toy. I can't find it. No worries. Maybe my friend can help. Thanks, Ted. Ha ha ha. Oh, that's so cute. You're not exactly the same Teddy, but you're just as good. I love the Buddy Gator comics. My dad who just fixed the car. 7-year-old me who only held the lamp. Yeah, how true is that? Like, I don't really know how to help, but I do know how to hold this light. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful time. And if you did and you want to see more Am I the A-hole, make sure you like and subscribe. And the comment of the day from the latest Nice Guy episode goes to Tapu Chris. Most of these so-called nice guys are lucky that women even acknowledge their existence. Oh yeah, definitely. Because a lot of the nice guy stuff we read, it's not like, oh, this person has a little bit of a bad attitude. It's like, no, they're actually saying awful stuff to women and then also wondering why women aren't interested. It's mind-boggling. Okay, I'm out of here. Thank you for all the support, guys. Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!